is welcome. We do these every day for our clients, for those who aren't our clients. Anybody can join, but definitely the only motive is to get people booked on more stages. So any wins so far that you all want to celebrate? I'll tell you one. I saw John started doing a Tuesday and Thursday LinkedIn thing, which is pretty dope. High five to John I don't know if he was doing that beforehand, but it just started popping up in my feed now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which is cool, man. You can't be a thought leader if you ain't leading nobody. So whenever you got to put yourself out there to tell people to follow. So high five. John, you want to tell us about your Tuesday and Thursday thing I saw on LinkedIn yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I definitely want to share a win too, aha moment. But yeah, I started doing these pretty much the beginning of this year, twice a week at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard. I've been going on Facebook Live, talking about various ways people can use mind maps to essentially love their life more. And getting some great feedback, getting great reviews, getting a lot of some clients from it actually. And I just take it from Facebook and post it on Instagram and post it on LinkedIn just to add some content and on, again, just further position myself as a subject matter expert in my field. But yeah, man, I had just real quick, I had a crazy, interesting aha moment. I remember we were talking about the why we're doing things before. And I was kind of, yeah, because it's my divine mission. I believe it's my passion. I believe this is what God really wants me to do for the rest of my life is to share this message. And as I mentioned last week, I was on a podcast and it went so well with this lady that she wanted me to actually start coaching her son. 20-year-old son is kind of lost, former football player trying to find his way. And even though I am a certified life coach, I never really started developing that aspect of my business just because I just don't have the capacity for it. It's not prioritized. So I said, but forget it. I got to start coaching his son. And his had a great conversation with him, so much so that I got this text message from the mom last night. She said, big win. Yeah, she said, Wes, thank me for introducing him to you today. Thank you, John. And I realized that that's why I'm doing this. It's not really the money. It's for those feelings that I'm truly making a difference with my message and making an impact and positive impact in people's lives. And it's just been resonating with me. Like it's not about the money, man. It's really about transformation and a positive impact I can make in people's lives. That's what I'm really clear on.
Yeah,
That's
that's a big deal, dude. That's huge. That is huge.
yeah.
That is a big deal. I'm gonna give you a hug, even though I don't like you. I'm gonna give you a hug anyway. You feel like you
Okay,
still
send me some
need
milk duds. That'd be good.
me. Give me a hug anyway, man. No, but
Yeah,
but that's what this is about. We talk about it all the time that we hear, oh, I'm only gonna speak if I get paid. I'm only gonna do this. And I'm like, well, money is only one form of currency, right? The knowing that you're doing the good feeling is one thing. You still got to pay the bills, but the thing that keeps you going isn't 10 more dollars, right? But saving 10 more lives will keep you going. And because you'll eventually everybody who when they get a bunch of money, what do they start doing? The thing that they wanted to do for free anyway,
right.
right? So if you can do both, I'm a big fan of this guy named Chuck Feeney. Chuck Feeney, whenever you fly internationally, there's a store called Duty Free, and he owned all of the duty free stores. They were doing 300 million a year in profit, and he was the only owner, right? Which is bananas. So he gave away $20 billion anonymously. Nobody ever knew that he owned the duty free stores himself. And he told any of his benefactors, if you ever tell who wrote you this check, we will never write you or anybody you're associated with the check ever again. So in September of 2020, he wrote the last check from his foundation. He ended up giving away $20 billion over like a 20-year time period. He basically made 10 million bucks, set it aside, and said, this is enough for me and my wife to live on in our lifestyle for the rest of our lives. Put the other remaining part of the business in a trust. and just if you ever go to New York and you see the new Cornell University campus in Manhattan, he gave, I think, like 700 to $1 billion to build that new campus at Cornell. So the impact, we all talk about the money when we don't have a lot of it because we're trying to get it to survive. But then once we get beyond the money thing, it becomes those conversations. And again, I don't think you need to have billions to be impactful. So just keep up the good work, man. Any other wins? High five, John. I had to give him some time to recover. He was about to cry. Well, we gotta, it's my boy, So I gotta tease him because I know if it was me,
Yeah,
he would
I'm
say
an
something.
emotional dude, man. I cried in the Lion King and shit. Yeah,
That's
I'm
it.
just kidding. So yeah,
I was waiting for you to put your hair down in your eyes to hide your face, but I didn't think that was gonna happen on the call. Anybody else? Any other wins for the week?
I actually had an interview earlier this week on a podcast.
Hey, Kathleen Coleman getting to work.
Yeah.
There it is.
And I
There it
got a
is.
couple of more lined up.
There it is for life. Those are our lifetime members. Kathleen is one of our lifetime members from January. High five to her for taking the action. Any other wins? Cardis, Jadika, Kevin, anybody? It don't matter. Michelle, how's things going in you all's world with Ed?
Everything's going good with the exception of getting a lot of like not blacklist, but it's blocked. So we got a meeting with our website guy on Thursday, so that way we can get that straightened up.
And are you sending from the regular Gmail? Is this still the AnnMcNeil.com email?
The A. McNeil one.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta again, it may be better to switch to just a basic Gmail. Nobody sees the email addresses anymore. And you don't want to be doing all that work for nothing, you know.
that's true. Yeah.
But it's just my suggestion.
Can you go
Robert,
over how to do that again when sometime during this call?
oh, of course. Yeah, I can show you really quickly. Robert, good to see you. Um, Carter's good to see you. Kathleen, I think she joined. Good to see you. It's always cool. So let me just show you really quickly. So this is, and then we'll get into the topic for today. Any other wins while we're pulling this up? Any success? Any questions? Any failures? Any lessons learned? So basically, Michelle, what you do, you go to settings, and then when you go to emails, you can add whatever email account you want. And with the latest one that you add will make it the primary one that it'll be sent from.
Okay.
As you can see, I have, an email, I have a Gmail and an Outlook, but I could have multiple Gmails or multiple Outlooks, and all I have to do is set as primary. You see how that switched and it changed that one to my primary one? If I want to go back to
Yeah.
sending from Gmail, I just click that and it switches it right back.
Sweet. We'll go ahead and
Yeah.
get that taken care of now.
Yep.
Thank you.
Now, let me show you another thing. Now, here's the cool thing. If you want to send from that email, but you want the responses to come back to the and email, put it down. Here's the reply to, so that you can send from the one to make sure it gets delivered, but you can have them reply back to the one that you all already have set up that's distributed amongst your team.
Perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Because that's usually the hesitance, like, oh, we already got it set up with this, and we don't want to, we need this team member to do that. Just have the replies come back to that reply to email. And you can set that to be either one. Got it?
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Lawrence, good to see you. Any other questions, comments, concerns, ideas? Nope. Okay. All right. Cool. So I've been really on this thing about product recently. And one of the main reasons I've been talking about it is because I realized that most of us are more comfortable talking about a product or something that we've created than what we are hopping on a stage to perform. Now, let me give you an example. There's a difference between promoting and performing. Does everybody know that? Right? So when you're performing, you're judged only by the quality of your speech and if the person was entertained. Right? But if you're promoting something, they're really judging the product that you're presenting to them more than the solution that you're presenting, if it's a good fit, more than your way of presenting it. I've presented things in a poor fashion. Let me give you a great example. Y'all ever been out and to a bar or something on the weekend, and it's a dude on the corner with a barbecue grill, and it's a line down the street of people waiting to buy that street meat, chicken, hot dog, Polish sausage thing. What did he have that everybody else didn't have? A hungry crowd, right? An inebriated, hungry crowd, right? So if what you're solving, people are hungry for, they'll listen to you, no matter how good of a speaker you are, right? But if you're there just to perform and to motivate and to inspire, hey, different people are inspired by different things. Different people are motivated by different things. So you may not have that effect on the people that you want to have the effect on. But if you're providing a solution to a problem, to a particular audience that lives with that problem, they're always going to be welcome. And you can only improve. You can get by with the product and improve your presentation skills over time. Now, if you don't believe me, go back and watch some of my old videos from 2016 when I talked about sales and when I was on podcasts. Go back and look at my first PitchDB webinars when I was talking about how to use the system to get booked on podcasts prior to the pandemic compared to now, right? Go back and listen to how we talked about the flywheel in June of last year versus how I talk about the flywheel now. You just get better over time. But if what you're talking about solves a problem, people will deal with it because of their own selfish interest. Does that make sense? Everybody has that uncle that they hate. And I'm him to a lot of my nieces and nephews. But my advice is so sound that they got to deal with my jokes. They got to deal with me making fun of them while I'm helping them. My friends, hey, look, I'm going to help you, but you're going to get these jokes along the way. And some people can deal with it, some people can't. But they're willing to deal with the jokes because of the value that I provide on the other side. So people are willing to deal with your flaws if you're solving a problem for them. The issue is that most of us aren't very clear on the problems we solve. Does that make sense? So what I want to talk about today is what I call the pain continuum of problems, right? So let me ask you a quick question. I see Veronica, good to see you. Good to see you joining the room. I'm going to ask you a quick question if you don't mind. Do you happen to have a broken left leg?
Is
Veronica,
that
you
to
there?
me or to everyone else?
No, to you. Do you happen
Sorry.
to have a
Hello,
broken
everyone. I
left?
guess there's a price to pay for being late. Apologies.
No. There's no price to pay.
Thankfully,
There's
I
no.
don't have a broken left leg, and
Okay,
I would not want to have one.
right. Did you see how she didn't have to think about it? It was a binary decision, right? It's binary. Like either you do or you don't. Those are the things that are easiest to sell, right? So I'm going to ask Kara. Kara, if you had a broken leg and someone ran over and they said, "Hey, I'm a doctor. I can help you," would you let them help you?
Like, yeah, immediately.
If they didn't say they were a doctor and they say, "Hey, let me help you get up or let me take you to the hospital," would you still let them help you even though they're not qualified medically?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. If the
Whatever to get
pain is
help.
great enough, who cares what medical school you went through? Stop the pain. Right?
Yep.
So that's one perspective of a problem pain situation. It's binary. Those are the easiest things to sell. Right? Are you hungry? Yeah. Right? They don't care what you give them. The food could be nasty. If they ate in 3 weeks, they're going to eat it. Right? Because the hunger pains are greater than their taste buds at that point. But then on the other side is what I call kind of, it's like, I need to trust you to get your help problems. All right? Let me give you a great example. AJ, do you have left pinky fingernail cancer?
No, sure don't know.
How you know?
If I do, I don't know.
Right? So I'm gonna give you this rundown. I think you got it, right? No, well, not me saying that. He's like, dude, who are you? First thing you think, you ain't a doctor. First thing that comes to mind, but that's not what Kara said. You see what I mean? Because AJ has no current pain. Me trying to convince him that he needs to go to a doctor and invest all this investigation into a problem that he is not suffering in pain from is why people don't buy from us. I ain't got the problem. Oh man, cool. It would be cool to be a speaker, but I got a regular job. This is just a side gig. Cool. I know you don't want our best solution. So I got to give you a solution that solves the significance problem at that point. Right? So those are the two extremes. You see the difference? One, the person needs to trust you in order to let you in and to take your advice. So you got to spend a lot of time contacting them, sending them content, showing them all the symptoms, letting them know it ain't gonna last for 4 hours or whatever you give them. If you get the joke, that's funny. But you know, we got to let them know what the pros and cons are of it, right? Before they take it, before they take the medicine, they need to know what the side effects are. Over here, care or don't care. Stop my leg from hurting. Make me back how I was before I fell off this bike. Now, there's something in the middle. We call it the rock in the shoe. The rock in the shoe is something that's annoying as hell, but I'm so busy I can't stop to fix it. Right? We all got that. Accounting. I need to talk to the lawyer, but I ain't really got time to meet with him this week. Oh man, I got to change this thing. My employee asked me for this. Shit, I got 15 meetings today. I ain't gonna be able to get her this until tomorrow. I need to record this video. I got to go do this. And we like, dude, all of these things are urgent, but I got things that are urgenter. I don't know if that's a word. I got an urgenter thing I got to do. So I can't put this box down to get the rock out of my shoe, because if I put the box down, I stop progress. Does that make sense? So we have these two extremes, then in the middle. That's where our job is saying, hey, can I carry the box for you? I can't take the rock out of your shoe, but by me carrying the box, you can have the time to go in and get that rock out of your shoe. Right? So, where does your problem fit on that spectrum? Is it binary? When you describe it, is it binary? Right? So, when people say, Ron, what do you do? I help speakers to get booked for paid speaking gigs, podcast interviews, and press coverage so that they can grow their business without dancing on TikTok. That's what I do. If you want to do that, come on over here. Join Death Row. If you don't want to do that, go on over there. Because we ain't going to have you got to make content. And we ain't doing that. You're going to get on these podcasts. You're going to send these emails. You're going to start making some money. That's all we know. It's very clear. If that's not what you want to do, I'm very clear with telling you, just don't sign up. But if that's what you want to do, you're going to love it over here, because I got a whole gang of people that come and talk about the success they have doing that, and none of them are dancing on TikTok. Right? Now, on the other side, if I say, well, Ron, what do you do? I help people feel better about themselves. How the hell am I going to measure that? You see how there's no accountability in that? But you can tell whether you got booked on a podcast. You see how it's binary? Did you get booked for a speaking gig? Yes or no? Okay. You can hold me accountable to the outcome. Does that make sense? If you have someone that's providing, how many people like pepperoni pizza? Right? How many people have gone to a restaurant and the pizza wasn't the best pizza you had ever had, but you still ate it? Even if you didn't like it, you still paid for it. We've all done that before, right? So as long as we get the customer something similar to what they expected, they're okay with it. The problem is when I order pepperoni pizza and you bring me French onion soup. Right? And I'm like, dude, I ain't ordered this. But you're like, but nah, man, my clients, if you would have just, you need to be more specific. You didn't say you wanted pepperoni pizza that was like everybody else pepperoni pizza. I brought you my pepperoni pizza lemon pepper soup. And I'm like, dude, can I get my money back? Nope. They're gone. Is that the client problem or a coach problem? It's a coach problem. Why? Because they sold this vague thing that was a dream where it had no accountability. Does that make sense? When I asked Veronica, is your leg broken? The binary answer provides accountability to both parties. I get you booked for podcasts, speaking gigs, and press coverage. It's accountability on both sides. How? You got to send these emails with the data that we give you. Cool. I get an email. Hey, I've been sending the emails. I'm not getting booked. Whose fault is that? Mine. I'll take responsibility for that. Was the emails bad? No, the emails went through. I didn't get any bounces. What were you saying? I said this. Oh, that's the problem. Let's try this. You see that? I got to be accountable for those things. That's why this business is so easy for me to sell. Because I actually provide some accountability that if you ordered you ordered pepperoni pizza, when you look at it, it should look like lemon soup or French onion soup. That's why you got to be clear in where you are. So I want to take today to kind of talk through that and kind of give some examples and feedback to everybody about what your offer is communicating. Because if there's no accountability on both sides, you can't effectively coach. Effective coaches have three things. See you later, John. Effective coaches have three things. They provide a strategy, they provide a process, and they provide accountability. They help you to think through your strategy. They walk you through the process of the next steps you're going to take. Not your coach can't do it for you. And then they provide you accountability. Hey, man, did you do what I said? No. Okay. Go ahead and do it this week. Hey, man, I did what you said. That didn't work. Cool. My fault. Let me fix it. Does that make sense? Strategy, process, accountability. Now, why is this important? Because that's where trust is built. Let me say it again. That's where trust is built. Why? Because if I'm going to give you the strategy, the process, and the accountability, and I allow you to hold me accountable on the other side, that means I probably should have done the thing that I'm teaching you before I teach it to you. So now I don't have to ever brag about anything. I just show the numbers. Here are the behaviors that got this outcome. Would you like to do these behaviors to get this outcome? So we got to be able to take that to, we got to be able to implement that into our business. Here's the reason why. Because the easiest product to sell is the results that you've already got. Robert was a leader in the Marines, right? By him being a leader in the Marines, he could teach leadership to a certain level based on where his rank was. Outside of that, he may have studied even more on doing other types of leadership and consulting, which may have raised his value as a leader and being able to teach leadership. On the other side, Bart, who was in the Army, was, I can't remember, commander something. It was commander, sergeant, major, right? It was the highest rank he could get without being a general. He led a lot of people, comes with a lot of perspective, comes with a lot of patience, right? You can see it in his behavior that he's a little bit less nervous than someone who's never led before, right? But people listen to him and they write him the check because he's done what he's teaching. So what is it that you know? Before we go around, what is it that you know or that you've lived that you can teach? That's really important because that could be your first product. If you have a product that you're teaching that you haven't lived, that's going to be an issue, right? So let me give you one of the mistakes I made. I became a financial advisor at 20 with a negative $13 net worth. Right? That's what I realized. Hey, financial advisors don't give advice, they're salespeople. Right? So I made a pact to myself back then. I would never sell a product that I didn't own. So I sold the stuff that I could afford. I sold the stuff that I own myself because what type of hypocrite is telling you, man, you should do this and I'm not doing it? So one of the things we used to do at Northwestern Mutual, which was required, and I thank Phil and those guys for helping me, is that you had to, this was before iPads, but this is my version of paper. You had to print out your own investment portfolio. And the only demonstrations you could show to any clients was your own investments. Think about that when you talk about integrity. If I'm telling you you should be putting money away in whole life, I had better show you my whole life insurance. If I'm telling you you should roll over your IRA, I had better have money in that IRA I'm telling you to put your investments in. That was the beginning of integrity for me, the beginning of showing your work, because I knew that I could always have the confidence to say, well, when they say, well, man, if it's so good, why didn't you do it? No, this is mine. Like, this is really mine. This is my real portfolio. Now, I was at a disadvantage for a while. Why? Because I ain't have no money. I had a little bit of money, right? But you know what it taught me? Stay in your lane until you get better. So I met with a bunch of college students at first that I had more money than. And when I made enough, I started meeting with State Farm employees who were recent college graduates that I had equal money to. And as I kept going, I made a little bit more. So I started working with more people that had more money because I could show them stuff that's at my level. As speakers, we want to skip the steps, right? So I want to show you all something, and then we're going to get to the spectrum thing. I want to bring this up here because I showed this yesterday, and then I got a couple of people hit me up afterwards and said, dude, you got to show that on a regular call, because I don't think they understand. Like, they think you, because you just bought SpeakerHub, you just found this platform and you just screaming at people now because you own the company. Well, nah, that ain't it at all. Like, not the case. I'm going to show you the best of times and the worst of times. Okay. You know, this is the tale of two cities. Let me go back. I got to go back a little bit. Let's see. One moment. I'm looking for this thing before I share the screen. No, that's too early. Here it is here, right? So let me share my screen here. What do y'all think I'm doing right there? Anybody want to guess? I know the obvious is painting, right? The obvious is I'm painting a wall. I'm
you
building
making
my
your background?
backdrop for my podcast, right? Now, let me show you the photo I took once I got this done. That photo is still on the internet. It is this one right here. I was able to turn that white wall into, like, I could crop myself out of anything, but if I just wanted to take a white background picture, I could, because I didn't have a green screen. But this photo right here, that crystal clear wall with my crappy logos, and all the stuff I did on my own, right, was shot on this wall. Why is that important? Look at my lighting. Right now, I got lights in the ceiling made into the wall that are studio quality, hot. I'll never look bad as long as I turn on these lights. Look at my light there. It was a $5 light. I couldn't afford a softbox, so I put a piece of paper on it to make it give me the photo softboxes. I recorded 200 interviews of some of the top entrepreneurs in the world with that. But y'all still afraid to start. Does that make sense? Got in there, I painted it myself. This building is abandoned now. But there it is. You see, I have my 2 lights, got my whole podcast studio set up right there. This is where it started. It wasn't all of this. It wasn't all this fancy stuff, but I needed to be on camera. All I needed to make sure was that my frame was good. I could go on any show as long as my frame was good. Look at these are $5 lamps that come in a box at Walmart, $5.99 with Xerox paper. And that wasn't even clean Xerox paper. It had words on it. Because I didn't even feel like going to buy a pack just to, I'm like, do I get some out the recycling bin in the office? And these were recycled pieces of paper with crap on it, right? And let me see. There it is. Boom. Couldn't put them on risers, needed to raise it up. There it is. Look like, man, look at that dude. He owned, look, my desk was so small, I had to put my microphone on top of the laptop. Right? It wasn't always this. It wasn't always I owned SpeakerHub. It was, I had to start. Is this fair? Does this help anybody? Or does it, because I'm not trying to grandstand, I'm trying to say you probably already have enough to get going. if your problem that you're solving is compelling enough, the backdrop, the blurred screen, the fancy camera, that stuff don't matter. Right? So let's talk about how you can help people to solve problems, because you'll never have the confidence to go on a podcast or to get on stage to promote instead of perform if what you're promoting you don't have confidence in. Is that fair? Right? So let's go with what's your question, Lawrence, before we get into it?
Well, I just had a comment to chime in on that, where having like the confidence to start, even with having your wall just painted white in the $5 light, I can relate to that because most of my video that I record for my content is me talking on the train or walking down the street, or my tripod set up outside, because I've got 5 siblings, not a lot of time to record content in here. So it's just great to see how people started out and knowing that it wasn't always owner of SpeakerHub. It was the guy with the laptop in the Walmart light. And then he became the owner of SpeakerHub.
Yeah, I mean, John Lee Dumas, who does $3 million a year from his podcast, I interviewed him with that setup. Great interview, too. I interviewed some of the best folks in the world with that setup. They had no clue, because I ain't turned that camera around. Y'all think when I be telling y'all, go film them speaking gigs and don't turn your camera around to the audience, you think I was like, let me give y'all a tour of my office. Nope. Right here. Let's keep this joint right here. All right, my camera about to go off. I'm about to click it off. Right? But that's, we got to start. Robert, go ahead.
So I think my question is a little bit, it's in that space, but so I've sold things, I've sold products, I've written books, I've done all those types of things. I think one of my big problems is figuring out what's actually solving a problem versus what's just kind of feeling like you're doing, like what's faking in the funk versus what's actually selling thing. Because I can go, like I just had a speaking event today where we got, the cards back, the contact cards back, and people are saying, yes, we want that resource stack and giving tens on the thing. But I guess one of my big problems is that hasn't ever been an issue for me. It's the follow-up. It's knowing what is actually the thing that's a binary choice versus what's the thing that is just nice. We're in the Midwest, so here where I am in Michigan, it's called West Michigan nice. There's a lot of people that are nice to you and will say nice things to you, but I've always been taught that people actually speak with their wallets, and I don't know how to do that consistently with my speaking engagements, and that's the thing that I'm really concerned about or interested in. Like, how do we hone that in?
I'll nail that for you. Give me one moment, right? Mm-hmm. So what I want to say something to Lawrence, because I think Lawrence is in a unique situation. Lawrence is 19. He's one of our youth speakers, right? And Lawrence, your setting is relevant to your audience. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Your audience ain't got no fancy studio. They riding the train just like you. Don't be ashamed of it. Get the message out.
Yes, that's also one of the reasons why I purposely decided to start doing them in public places, because one of the subjects I often speak on is building confidence. Mm-hmm. And it's obvious that if you're outside recording yourself talking into a camera and people are walking by, you must be confident enough to not care about that. Mm-hmm. So
I get it.
It shows that I'm practicing what I preach.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows that you're one of them. The worst thing to be is an outsider trying to give insider advice. Right? That's the worst thing to be, an outsider trying to give insider advice. That's why we don't teach anything we don't live. Right? Because it's like, dude, I've done this. You can argue with the results. You can hate me. You can't hate these results. Right? So keep doing it. That's all I wanted to say to you, Lawrence. Let's get into what Robert's talking about, and then we'll go around and because I think it'll add context to you all before you say, oh, I do this. Nobody's going to beat you up. We just having a conversation. Right? Now, one of the things that I know that most people don't do is they don't talk to their customers. Nobody wants to hear that their baby is ugly. They don't want to get that feedback. Look at my baby. Look at my baby. Look at my baby. You say something, hey man, you know what? That's cool, but the thing on the logo is a little crooked. Man, you always hating, right? Nobody wants to hear that their baby's ugly or that their kid is bad. Man, your kid is, you need some discipline, right? Nobody wants to hear that. So a lot of times we talk about, we know the problems that our customers have, but we don't use the language that our customers use. Does that make sense? We know the problems that they have, but if we don't use their language, it doesn't matter. When my daughter comes in, if she comes in and I know her stomach's hurting, right? But I tell her what to do in English, she's just gonna cry, right? But the minute I change to her language, Spanish, first, she gets it. Okay, Poppy, todo bien. She'll lay down, turn on the cartoons and go on about it. But I gotta speak her language. Now, here's the cool thing. Speaking someone's language lets them know that they're understood. Most people just want to be heard. We already know what we need to be doing. I ain't got to tell nobody what to do. Y'all know what y'all need to do. Y'all just want to hear. We ain't looking for information. We looking for confirmation. Just confirm what I'm thinking. Right? Confirm what I'm already thinking so I can feel good doing it. Or maybe if it goes wrong, I can say it's your fault. Those are the two reasons. So we looking for someone to blame. So from that perspective, I think, and this isn't about Robert, this is overall, I'm answering the question for everyone. We got to spend more time with our customers to understand how they talk about it. The rejection emails or the feedback that you get from clients or podcasts that you reach out to are there for you to understand where you went wrong so that you can make adjustments. Again, the AI is just the base cake. It's a great place to start for someone who's never pitched, but the intelligent ones will look at the responses and make adjustments and come up with their own thing so that now they don't need the crutches anymore. Does that make sense? So how do you learn that? Well, you got to talk to the customer. You got to interview them. I'll give you the best interviewing technique ever, and it will lead to more business. I'll show you. I've used it for years. I can show you. Now, again, we talk about building companies. I have an interview with the owner of this company, Sarah Batterman. Sarah is a great friend of mine. Sarah's out of St. Louis. I met Sarah when we were in that same building where I was painting the walls. She had an office in that same building. I'm going to the elevator one day and somebody's sitting on the steps crying. It's a black man hearing a white woman cry. I don't know if I want to ask her. What's wrong? I'm like, yo, you good? I'm like, you good? I'm over here like, I ain't about to go over there and she'd say I done did something to her. No, 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 no. No, I'm joking. Relax. We live in America, but y'all know. I'm gonna let that be over there. Hey, you all right? Cool. She says, yeah, Ron, I'm okay. Now, we had just met that morning. And she says, I went out this afternoon and and everybody that I talked to about my business told me no. I said, really? She said, yeah. They didn't want any of the stuff that we're offering. And we raised money around this business. I don't think I'll ever be able to get sales. And she is in tears. I said, look, I've sold dreams in the form of insurance. Whenever you're ready to learn how to sell, let me know. And she says, okay, come in. And I'm going to walk y'all through this. And I'm going to show you that part. And because this will show you whether you have a painkiller or something else. So we went in and I asked, how do you go in and you present yourself to these people? She says, well, I go knock on the door. I go to the doctor's office, the urgent care, the hospitals. And I asked them, hey, are you all looking to solve your HIPAA problems? And the receptionist be like, no. Can I talk to somebody who can talk? She's like, no, he ain't available, right? So she's just getting bricked wall, right? Well, what pain is there in do you want to talk about the HIPAA problems? Ain't nobody about to confess to a stranger that they may have potential HIPAA violations in their hospital. It's $10,000 per data piece. That's the fine. So they ain't about to tell her that. Does that make sense? So I said, let me tell you something. I'm going to show you something called twisting the knife. And she said, what's that? So here's what you do. When you go to that place, you go up to him, you says, who do I talk to about a potential HIPAA violation? All of a sudden, that person listens because they know this might be an inspector and we might be in trouble. So that's what she did. She walked up, she says, I said, wear your best clothes, take a leather brief, and walk up to him and say, who do I talk to about a potential HIPAA violation? Don't mention your name, don't take out a business card or nothing. That's what she did. When that person came out, I said, you look at them right in their eye and you say, can we go somewhere where we can talk more privately? Now this person is feeling the pain. We might have a HIPAA issue, right? So they definitely take her straight into the conference room. And she sits down and then she asks the person, hey, have you all had any HIPAA compliance studies? And the person says, girl, I thought you was a compliance officer and you was about to tell us we had an issue. What you want to talk about? And they would fill out this survey for her and answer like 20 questions because anything was better than a HIPAA violation. But you see how we had to raise the pain. We had to turn up the temperature a little bit. She raised $300,000. Well, basically not raised. She sold $300,000 worth of software that didn't exist on the promise that we'll build this in 6 months and you'll be our clients. Why? Because she understood where the pain was. The fear of having a real inspector walk in the office and have that conversation was real in that situation. You notice it wasn't binary. Do you have a data leak is yes or no? It ain't kinda. It's yes or no. But she didn't understand her audience until I asked her. Now, here's how we discovered this. Guess what her job was? A HIPAA coordinator, a HIPAA compliance person for a hospital. So all I did in that hour when we spent the time was ask her, what's your biggest fear? What would make you poop your pants if they walked into your office? She said, a compliance person come in the office, I'm meeting with them. Perfect. You need to appear like a compliance person. Does this make sense? Now, do you have to go through all that drama to get through it? No, you don't. I'm going to show you what we use though. You want to see the surveys we use? I can show you that. But this company, HIPAA is incredible. I mean, incredible company. This is Sarah. I got like a 3-hour interview of her telling that story of how we helped her company raise its first $300,000. She sold $300,000 worth of software without the software even existing because she was able to highlight the pain. So let me bring this up. So this is just a basic market survey that I use all the time, but it's the gist of what we do. Now, I'm gonna bring it up. And it's scripted. You do this over Zoom, over the phone, in person, right? You don't show them the script though. Does that make sense? You don't email it to them and tell them to fill it out. You gotta do it. Why? Because they're gonna be buying from you, Robert. They're gonna be buying consulting from you. So this is your chance to demonstrate how you consult. Is that fair? So I'm very clear. Here it is. All you're gonna do is do a survey. All you're gonna, and a lot of you all here experienced this from us already. Hey, we got an event. Are you interested in speaking? It's the same process. I get you to go fill out 20 questions about what you speak about. Now I got you engaged, and then that's how it works. Same surveying process, but we just use it in a different way. But here it is. Hey, Robert, as I mentioned, I'm giving serious consideration to becoming a leadership coach. Before I make that decision, I would appreciate hearing your thoughts on the industry and what you think about me joining. I'd like to begin by asking you a few questions about your experience with people who sell coaching and other advice. And then there's a thing that you set up before you get the meeting is, hey, Rob, I'm trying to survey 200 entrepreneurs to see how they deal with this problem. I don't have anything to sell you. I'm just trying to do some market research. At the end, I'm going to share that data back with everybody, all the results in an anonymous way. right? Does that make sense? Well, what's another way we've done it? So you can see, like, again, we teach it because we've done it before. Like they say, we listen, but we don't judge. No, we judge over here. We judge the folks that ain't doing it. So here's the speaker status report. Speaker status is one of our surveys. I don't know if it's going to come up. At least it should. If it doesn't, I don't know what's wrong. But speaker status is one of the surveys that we use in order to better understand our speakers. Look at me working on another one, right? So, but this is what we do. We work on these surveys. I wish I could bring up a different one. Let me see. 1 second. Get out of here.
The page didn't come up for you, Ron?
Yeah, it didn't come up, but it's okay. I can bring it up here.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So this is speaker status. Well, we help you walk through and we give you a report. But what does it give us? You get a report on the instructions you should be doing, but what do we get? We get the data we need in order to solve your problems. Does that make sense? So let me see if I can bring this one. Speaker status, that one. Open up. Okay, here it is, right? What's your speaker status? We've surveyed over 1,000 people to figure this stuff out. But what did it give us? What problems should we be solving for you guys? Right? Because I can go look at the data and I can say, well, what did people say in the last, all time? How much income they're making? What's their biggest problem they're willing to make go away? Do you see what I mean? So now I know the language that they're using. I thought, and this is not a bad thing, I thought we had more elite speakers at SpeakerHub. But the data showed me 89% of our speakers are new or part-time. They're new or they're experienced and part-time. They have another business that they're doing. Only 9% were full-time speakers making over $50,000. That changes the conversation, guys. Because now I can just talk about the basics of, this is their first business. If you go and look at our videos from October and November, I'm talking all this high-level speaker stuff, because those are the folks I was dealing with. January, I started getting this back. I'm like, I am totally missing it. Conversation changed. Groups start growing. People start being more engaged. People start sharing their feedback. Why? Because I started talking the language of the people that I'm trying to help. Is this making sense? So you start with that survey. You get their basic information. You start very wide. This is a technique called funneling, where you ask a very broad question that they can take in whatever direction they want to take it in. Why? Because we talk about pain first. If you don't believe me, ask somebody, man, how's your day? First thing they're going to do is complain about the thing that they worried about. If they got a problem, man, my kid fell down the steps and cracked his fingernail, right? They're going to tell you something. So, Robert, tell me your experience with the coaching industry. Let's role play it. Let's do it.
All right. So we'll walk through it. My experience with the coaching industry. I've had a number of coaches who were decent. I've had another group of coaches who it felt like they were just regurgitating what they heard from somebody else and didn't really understand how to take me from point A to point B.
Cool. What do you think a coach should do for you?
I think a coach should walk alongside you and help you to move from point A to point B, and should be able to hold space for you to process and hold you accountable.
Okay.
To grow.
And in regards to your previous contacts with coaches, what have they done that you've liked the most?
Like I said, the ones that I liked the most were the ones that were consistent and that were able to help me to move past the obstacle that I was dealing with in the moment, but stay focused on what I was trying to accomplish in the long run. So it wasn't just helping me in today, it was also helping me to accomplish a goal.
What did you like the least?
The ones who basically tried to fit my problem into their solution.
Okay. Who do you primarily rely on right now for coaching?
I've got a number of different coaches. Being a coach, I believe in coaching. So I generally try to find a coach figure out stuff. So I've got a coach that's just a kind of life coach. I've got a speaking coach. I've got a number of different coaches in my world.
How did you choose those people? What's your process?
Yeah, a lot of it is interviewing, figuring out what they're about and whether or not they've done what I'm trying to do, or they've been in the space or around what I'm trying to do, so that they have the depth of knowledge. But then also I check to see whether they can coach.
What's the area you wish you had coaches for?
Sales and marketing.
Okay. And what's been your approach to solving that currently?
A lot of trial and error, and a lot of being one of the things I talk to my clients about is a lot of being like, I'm successful, so I can't complain, but I'm not as successful as I want to be. So there's that space. And I know that a coach could take me to the level that I want to be at.
Okay. How do you feel about your current approach?
I feel like it's what I'm doing now until I find the coach that I need to take me to the next level.
Okay. And how often do you think about it?
Often.
Okay.
Daily.
If I were to decide to start coaching, what might be the best way to approach people like you?
I think if you were doing sales and marketing coaching, the biggest thing would be to show me how you've taken multiple 6-figure businesses and turned them into 7-figure businesses.
Okay. How would I not approach you?
With all the basic kind of beginning business stuff that is right. It's what's flooding the market. It's what everybody talks about, but it's not the right level.
Okay. What are the typical ways in which you communicate with others in your profession? Is it through associations, meetings, networks, online?
Yeah. So I
masterminds?
go to networking groups, I go to conferences and mastermind groups.
Okay. And when would it be the best time to reach out to somebody in your profession to kind of follow up?
That's a good question. Whenever my assistant tells you that I got time on my calendar.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. So if you were in my shoes, you made the decision to enter this business. What product would you offer yourself?
I would offer myself some sort of solution where the person is going to help you do the market testing and do the kind of surveying and all the stuff to launch a product and to get it consistent. Because my big thing is being a consultant. I'm good at getting contracts or getting deals. The issue is getting consistent recurring revenue.
Okay. And how would you go about marketing to people like you?
I'm probably not the person to ask, considering the fact that I'm looking for a sales and marketing coach. But what I might say is I watch a lot of YouTube videos. So there's that.
Okay. And if someone could get you your outcome, what do you have budgeted? What would you pay?
Me personally, I'd be willing to pay a percentage of whatever I earn comfortably.
Okay. And what's the time horizon you're looking to accomplish this?
Next 6 to 12 months.
Cool. That's the end of my survey. You know, as I promised, I have nothing to sell you. What did you think about it?
It was good.
Okay. Well, if I
Interesting
decide
questions.
to start to do this, would you have any objection to talking about your situation with me sometime in the future?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, one final question. As I mentioned, I'm going to be trying to interview 200 other people to get this survey data and share it back with you. Will you be willing to help me complete the survey by suggesting a few people I can ask the same questions to?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Now, that's all you do. I got agreement to get a meeting. I got agreement to get referrals. Because I ain't trying to sell them nothing. You notice I just stuck to the script. And I made it easy for him to say I could send you to somebody else because I know you didn't try to sell me, so you're not going to sick the dog on them.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't deviate. We listen and we don't judge. His answers were his answers. I didn't rebuttal him and try to say, yeah, I would have did that to you. We be talking too much. We be talking too much. So now what did I learn? I learned what he liked. I learned what he didn't like. I learned where he hangs out. I learned how he talks to his peers. I learned how he would sell it to himself. I learned the problem he would buy tomorrow, when he wants results by, what's the value. I got all of that here. And I got an agreement that if I decide to go in this business, I can meet with him and help him. So now when I call Robert back, I'm going to use his words.
Mhm.
Hey, Robert, here's the survey. I actually decided to go into this business. And one of the things that you mentioned was a problem, which is needing a speaker coach, is one of the services we're going to offer. Should I reach out to Kara? Because you mentioned she sent your books, right? I can use all of this. He gave me the bullets, for lack of better
Mhm.
words.
Mhm. So when you're doing these selfish questions, two selfish questions. First question: do you have a template or those questions that you could send out so that we could make our
Of
own
course.
survey based off of what you just sent? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, we got it. I'll give it to you.
Okay, perfect. That's number one. And then number two: over what amount of time are you doing these interviews? Like what? And I'm not saying what's possible. I'm saying what's good. So from you as somebody who's done this a lot, what's a good amount of time for you to get this done in?
So here's the cool thing. You can do these all the time. If anybody has gone through our new sales process, they got to fill this out to even meet with us now. Right? So I can give updated data all the time now. So it doesn't have to be one survey and I can't tell them until this. No. Once you hit 200, send them folks the survey. Once you hit 400, send it back. Hey, we added some more people. We ended up doing 500 of them. But think about all the sales meetings you got, but you gave them the research you promised them.
Mhm.
Now, some people ain't gonna want to meet with you, but they're gonna love to see what their competitors doing. They nosy. They're nosy. Everybody want to see how many meetings they doing. They doing outreach. Am I the only one using Speaker Hub? Do I got this? We nosy people. But do you
Mhm.
see how I can determine where the pain is? It's no longer fingernail numbness or whatever I mentioned AJ having.
Nice.
It's very clear. I want a sales coach. I got a coach for this. I got a coach for that. It's very clear. This is what you would want. I'm tired of the people giving me the basic stuff. They not teaching me this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Does this make sense?
It was really good. I got to jump. I got a 1 o'clock that I got to jump on, but this was awesome.
I'll
Appreciate it.
get the link to Kara or I'll text it to you.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thoughts and feedback before we get to Lawrence. Thoughts and feedback on the process. How many of you all think that this process is too difficult? Because that's called selling. And I ain't sell nothing, but I got an order placed. Right? You notice he don't even know what I sell. I told him I don't even offer it yet. What's your thoughts on the process? Anybody? Lawrence, go ahead.
Yeah, so my thoughts on the process is that is super effective, especially so what I speak on is teen mental health, because that's what I've lived, that's what I've overcame, history of PTSD, and I also speak on autism because I'm autistic. And hearing that process, now when I'm talking to school principals or associations that deal with mental health, I can get more specific on what aspect of mental health are you guys looking for a speaker on? Because resilience would be pretty different from something like speaking on anxiety. So just to wrap it up, the process is super helpful for getting down to what they really want.
My bad. Kara, I'll get you the stuff. So here's what I want to make sure. Now, I know we have some mental health professionals that are speakers. You got to be very careful using anything with health or mental health because it's a huge liability to the people that will hire you. They won't tell you that, right? So you better off saying, I do resilience training, right? Or perseverance training. But the minute that you say, I help people with anxiety, you ain't got the degree, bro. You're going to burn down your career. I'm just being real with you. You got to be careful. Let me give you a great example. I remember this guy named Paul. Now, when I was first selling insurance and I was a financial advisor, all I sold was insurance while I was in college. right? They made you sell insurance first. Even you think if you're a financial advisor, even though you only licensed to sell insurance, people gonna ask you investment questions? Yep, they're gonna do it, especially if they know you smart and you understand the stuff. I was in a meeting with a client one day. I didn't have my investment license. And the client asked me, hey, so what you think I should do with my 401k? My response should have been, let me bring our 401k person in so that they can give you give you the advice because they're licensed. My response was, oh man, I would do this, I would do that, I would do this. The door in the conference room happened to be open. And Paul heard me say that. And he walked in and he said, kid, I need to talk to you. Now, Paul was a peer, but he was older. And he said, kid, I need to talk to you. Interrupted the meeting, brought me outside and says, hey man, I believe in what you're doing. I think you're going to be incredible. We need more minorities doing this. But you got to follow the rules. You're going to kill your career by being non-compliant before you even get good at it. Changed my life. I bawled like a baby. I was, man, because I knew I had the desire to want to help, but I knew I wasn't qualified yet. And everybody else knew it. So we got to stick in our lanes, guys. The topics may be sexy, but if you're not a doctor, and people know how I feel about these people with these fake PhDs, you ain't never got to come to SpeakerHub. You got a fake PhD, stay away. I don't like you people because I think it's disrespectful to the people that went to school to earn them. And I've never hid that. But I think that's malpractice. Does that make sense? Because why? Because someone held me accountable when I was malpracticing. So if we're going to run this business with integrity and clean up the speaking industry, we need real credentials. We need to give advice about things we're qualified to talk about. I think you have a huge opportunity, Lawrence, but I don't want to see you miss opportunities because you're thinking people don't want you to come in. But you may be talking on a topic that you're not squarely competent in right now. Right. So I would say that to anybody else who was talking about, oh, I help people overcome this. I'm like, you go to school for that? No, but I overcame it. Yeah, okay. You ain't gonna be speaking very long. Right? Now, people may disagree with me, but I'm okay with that. All I'm saying is it's my job as 46-year-old Ron, who saw 19-year-old Lawrence, to prevent him from going through what I went through. Is that fair? So, Lawrence, stay away from the mental health. Talk about resilience, toughness, making it out the hood, surviving, not going down the right path. That's what your folks don't understand mental health. Give examples of how you overcame things. Your examples of mental health is better than your words on mental health because they can't take your examples away. Is this fair, guys? Or do you all think I'm being too tough? I'm not trying to be, but I may need some guide rails from the crowd to say, hey, Ron, back off. But I gotta make sure you don't do that.
Like that's completely valid because you brought up a really good point in terms of the liability end, because so far no one's ever told me that the term mental health would be an issue. But hearing the way we just explained it, the natural reaction somebody would have is, okay, so where did you get your degree? What school did you go to? Do you have like a certificate? Because to say I speak on mental health, first immediate thought somebody would have from the outside is, are you a therapist?
Exactly.
Therapists
Are you
speak
a
on mental
therapist?
health. I'm not, but that's good that you brought that
No.
up.
Are you? It's a yes or no. Are you a therapist?
I'm not.
Okay, perfect. Don't play with
So
on the
it's
internet.
great that it's great that you brought up that feedback because I can speak on resilience. I can speak on confidence building.
Yep.
I can speak on subjects within it without saying I speak on mental health because I'm not a therapist.
That
I'm
my friend is
certified
called
in
that my
talking
friend
about
is called
confidence.
maturity. Right? We just watched the kid grow right before our eyes. It's a huge deal, Lawrence. This is the coaching that we're here for, guys. We got to help each other. We gotta, because we hear a lot of crazy stuff, and then don't nobody want to say that. We just be like, but this one of the babies. We got to protect the babies, you know. At least I'm going to protect them, right? But high five. I used to be you. That's why I gave you the example, right, of when I screwed up and someone helped me get back on the right. Now, Paul became one of my best mentors because I knew he cared about me, right? He wanted to see me. He cared about Black folks getting the knowledge I had because he wasn't willing to go talk to our people. Make sense, Janika?
Ron, I want to share a live experience that supports what you just said. For as long as I have been doing what I have been doing, it's taken me a long time through the school of hard knocks to get to the point, because the one thing I avoided more than anything was talking about medication-free alternatives to relieving pain. And it's an evolution. I'm able to move in that direction now because the avenue is open up to it. But long before that, I would never talk about any type of healing without dealing with medication, because my ultimate concern was you're going up against Big Pharma. And when you decide to go up against Big Pharma, you got some serious problems you're going to have to deal with. And you have to, like, how to use the exact terminology that is focused in your industry that people understand. And so I share that to say that it's an evolution and it's getting to that point, and you have to know how to grow with that evolution. But I share that you are absolutely 100%, especially when you talk about the health industry, because even though I'm a naturopathic practitioner, I cannot use the word patients. I have to refer to them as clients because that belongs to the medical industry. I can never say that I'm diagnosing. All I can say is I'm assessing, because diagnosing belongs to the medical industry. So you have to know what you can do and what you can't do in terms of still getting your message out there, operating, as they say, under the radar.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think you have to operate in compliance, right? And I think that's what you're doing. Like, there's nothing wrong with following the rules, guys, especially if you're really helping people to solve that pain problem. They can't get your help if you're not allowed to practice. The kids who need to hear Lawrence's message can't get his help if the principal is afraid of a liability situation if he gets on the stage and says something wrong. So Lawrence is really, really, really intelligent. So he understands some things that a lot of kids his age may not use those same words or talk about it from that topic, because he's hanging out with us all day. He's with the big kids all day. So of course he's going to use our words. But he has to be able to translate those back down so that when he goes back to his peers, he can be a leader of his peers, right? Not an outsider trying to give advice to them, right? Jasmine. So we're 11 minutes into overtime, guys. Larry, good to see you. Allure, good to see you. Bonnie, always good. Kevin, saw you snuck in. Bart, Chantel, good to see everybody, man. I'm glad to see you all today. It's a good topic. Jasmine.
Yeah, I agree with, what you said and Ajita just said as well. When I ran my wellness centers, I was very careful that and because I was, the higher up, the president, whatever, I made sure I could train for personal training. I made sure I took the aerobics. I took training for everything so that I have the expertise when I call someone in to say, well, I noticed you did this wrong, and what is the report? You should correct your report for usage. And even coming now, going back into my health and wellness and going out there doing, speak on health and wellness, I made sure I became a certified herbalist, because a lot of people are, as you just said, coming away from Big Pharma. And I want to give, information how you alternatively, and the wording is very, very careful, because I'm developing this, the burnout, as Angela and I spoke on, the burnout pie and the 8 slices in the pie, and I can take each of those slices based on my experience as a certified herbalist and go out there and be confidently do it. But if I didn't have that behind me, I would find ways of, because everybody's critiquing you, everybody's looking to take you down. And, for Lawrence jumping, to Lawrence to quickly realize, I'm glad he's here, he's passionate about mental health because he's been through it. So what I would say to Lawrence, your topic could be on resilience, but when you're on that stage, you give, because in giving a speech, people like to hear stories. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you what happened to me. Let me tell you what my experience in is. So then you can bring up the mental health, because you're not telling anybody you're an expert. You're telling them that I experience mental health, and this is how you can get out of it, but through resilience training.
100%. Now, let me tell y'all something I realized. Imagine, well, we always hear AI is taking over the world. Everybody heard that, right? AI is replacing these folks. AI is replacing these folks. AI is replacing these folks. AI, Larry, I got a question for you. Can AI have babies?
AI have babies?
Yeah.
I guess they could be some technology AI subcontracting babies, I guess. I don't.
Yeah. Right. AI can't have babies. Can AI get in an argument with their wife?
Oh, I've seen that. They're getting involved with Siri every day.
I have seen some people like, Siri, I ain't say that. I said, you're right. Okay, I got you. Point taken. Here's what I'm saying. I think public speaking may be the only domain that will be enhanced by AI and never replaced, because it's our stories that we've lived in real life that separate us from the artificial. The speakers are the oratory of the natural relationships. We're the orators of that. We tell what's happened in life already. Comedians, things of that sort. Nobody wants to hear a waka 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 joke from AI. Siri, beatbox, boots, cats. Nobody want to hear that. We want that ain't beatboxing, right? There's some human things that we are protected by. And the more we learn to tell our story and to tell the real things we've experienced, the better we are as speakers. Now, I know what some people are going to say, well, I ain't never done nothing cool. Well, go start doing some cool shit so you can talk about it on stage. I ain't never done nothing amazing. Well, go be amazing so you can talk about it on stage. Well, I ain't never helped. Well, go help somebody so you can talk about it on stage. I ain't never, go do it so you can talk about it on stage, because your stories are what separate. AJ and I live in the same city. We have for the last 6 years. His perspective of Medellin is totally different than mine. Some aspects of his you're going to love. Some aspects of his you're going to hate. Some aspects of mine you're going to love. Some aspects of mine you're going to hate. But we both live in the same city. So AJ can tell stories I'm never able to tell, because he's living in his world. I live in my world. AJ can't say, man, my daughter woke up this morning, she asked me 20 questions about how you say this in English, how you say that in English, how you say this in English. He don't have that experience, but I can take that to the stage. And if AJ tries to tell that story, he'll be like, AJ, you got kids? No, I stole that from Ron. It's weak. Right? It's weak. It's like, dude, you cheat. We know the fakes. So use that to your advantage. Build those relationships. That selling example that I used was about building relationships with people so that they can help you solve the problem you're trying to solve. They can give you the right language. They can tell you how they want to be sold to. They can tell you, you do that with event planners. Hey, tell me about the event. Oh, we're doing this and that. Cool. What type of speakers you already got? Blah, 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 blah. Are there any openings or spots that you wish, a topic that somebody would cover? Yeah, I wish they would cover this. Cool. And you just go through. They may say, well, yeah, I don't have a topic like that for this event, but y'all have another event coming up. It's about relationships, guys. Larry, I want to ask you a question. How many speakers you represent?
We represent about 10 athletes.
Okay. When you go and you talk with an event planner, do you already have the person in mind that you're pitching, Or are you trying to understand which ones you can fit into that event?
I try to understand what they're looking for first. Like we're booking speakers now for the National Black Accountants, and they want inspiration. And so I've got a couple people in mind. They want, business leaders and inspirational folks to talk to these accountants.
Yeah. You see what I mean? The listening allows him to determine who he's going to put up to bat. The listening on our side allows us to determine if we should even have a chance at bat if you're not represented by somebody, right? Any other questions? We're 18 minutes in overtime. The one person came in that we were meeting with, that my call was with, I forgot to introduce them, but they disappeared. That's okay. But I'll follow up with them.
Brian,
Yep.
this isn't a question, but a comment. Ray just texted a major milestone yesterday. We had a 100 co-working call last night. So this is
how cool is that?
101. So really, really big deal. Since October, we've done over 100 co-working calls. So thank you all for continuing to show up for us, and we'll still be here.
That's it. Cool. No, that's a big deal.
Wow, I did 100 hours with you guys. Woo!
Yes.
There's a lot.
Yep. It's a lot of togetherness.
Let me calculate that in dollars now. It's coming from the top.
What's that? What's that? You got a record? You got a LP over there, Bart? What's that? Put that back up.
101st Airborne Division, 101.
Ah, cool. That's dope. The Screaming Eagles. That's incredible. You were a part of them?
Yes.
Okay. Incredible. High five, man. So any thoughts on the topic today? This is one of my favorite topics because it's the beginning of how you make money. And even someone as experienced as Robert, who has won by his charisma and his persistence, right? Built a successful business with that charisma and persistence, is still looking to get better. Right? So what thoughts on the topic?
The one thing that I would say is for anybody that's struggling to make money, especially when you're talking about products, most of us don't have 200 leads to reach out to, which is why I think doing the survey and getting those leads, you then have 200 people that you can reach out to. So I hope nobody runs past the fact of doing those surveys, because those instantly become 200 leads.
Yeah.
So, and if you have a closing percentage of 10%, that's 20 new clients. So let's not forget that you did that, and understand that that's like money, like that's legit money out there for us.
If you survey 5 people and they each give you 5 names, you now have 30. If those 30 people give you 5 names, you're instantly at 150 plus the 30. So you're at 180 already, just going 2 layers deep. 5 people, they give you 5 names, they give you 5 names. Does that make sense? Now, if you have a better way to get customers, use it. If you don't, there is no better way that I know for someone who doesn't have a way to get customers than doing those surveys, because you don't have to sell them anything. They're telling you what they want, and they're saying they're willing to meet with you if you can solve it, and they're saying, this is what I'm willing to pay. Makes sense. Any other questions as we close out today? Comments, questions?
Brian, can you make the connection between the survey and Speaker Hub? So people may be thinking this, well, should I have a survey when I go on a podcast and talk to the host, or when I meet with the event planner?
Yeah. So what we were talking about today is about product. The original premise was most people are more comfortable promoting than what they are performing. We come into the speaking business as performers, usually because we don't have anything to promote other than ourselves and our voices. Does that make sense? So when you don't have a book, you don't have anything else to promote, you promote your voice. I want to be paid to talk because there's nobody else paying you for anything else. So what this is designed to do is to help you develop the other things you should be selling in order to get paid from those things too, if 70% of your revenue is going to come outside of the stage. Because you can go on a podcast and talk about this stuff every day. You can't, most people can't get a speaking gig or don't want a speaking gig every day. Does that tie it in together? Why? Because you're no longer speakers. You run intellectual property. You write books, you got courses, you do trainings, you speak, you get interviewed, you do all of these things, you consult. It's about the business. It's about the Covey business, not the one person, I got a good speech. You don't want to be a one-hit wonder. Did that answer the question, Ange? Right?
It does.
So
it does.
you don't
I could
you
tell
don't go and
people were,
survey
some people
the,
came in a
oh
little
yeah,
later.
oh yeah, yeah. You don't go and survey the podcaster, but if you want to work with podcasters, you should. Right? If the person that you're talking to, you say, hey man, can you help me with something? This isn't a sales pitch. I just want to ask you a few questions. I'm trying to do this research. No, you got to keep your promise. Because the minute that you try to pitch them during that survey, you know what they're going to say? Oh man, you lied. I ain't giving you no referrals or nothing. They don't trust you anymore. Allure, Unique, what up? You there? We can't hear you. You muted.
Hey, how are you? I just
Okay,
had
we
to
can hear you
unmute.
now. There you go.
Good
Good to see
afternoon,
you.
you guys. I was one of the people that got on late, which as you can see, periodically I try to jump on when I can because I do still work a
Oh yeah, you
part-time
good.
job in the morning. But everything that you said, right? That's where excuse me. So that's where I'm at. I have all the things. I already have like my YouTube channel. I have my podcast. I just have my books published, which are my testimonials. I also have e-learning courses. I have even motivational music, products, and attire. Um, what I don't have is and that's why, I'm thankful that Chantel invited me to come on with you guys so that I can gain more knowledge and wisdom, because basically I'm at the point now that I'm still just trying to make my presence known, and I don't have the marketing, I don't have the advertisement. I do, I do have a social following. I do engagements in my local city, but I want to enhance my, I want to really step out. And mine is all based off of motivation and inspiration. But I do come from, so my, just to give you a quick rundown, because I know you over the time, and I did also schedule a appointment with you to be able to talk a little bit more in depth to see, what you guys might be able to help me with, because like I said, I'm partially still just new and been popping in and out. But my motivational brand, it is built off resilience as well, but it's real struggle, strength, motivation, where I come from a street aspect, yet a theological platform. And I think I told y'all that when I first got on. But I basically, my goal is to bring forth living ecstasy, which is a state of wonderment and mental clarity, to let people know no matter what they're going through, that they can come out. And I base that in many different aspects. So like if someone asked me to come to a church and do an engagement, I just go off whatever it is that they need at that point in time. If they tell me, give me a baseline or a subject that they want me to speak on, um, and particularly, but I also do implement my motivation and encouragement some type of way, shape or form. But I just would want to know, what would your advice be for me? And thank you.
Well, I mean, I don't think I can answer that here because I don't know what your goals are, right? But my belief is that you got to have a product, right? So for those who do inspirational, motivational things, because it's hard to, everybody is motivated and inspired to go in their own path. It's hard to quantify that. Does that make sense? So what you have to do in those situations, inspirational, motivational things ends up being journals. You got a quote at the top and let the person fill it in the blanks, because you really can't guide everybody everywhere they want to go. Can you hear me? Right? You can't guide me everywhere. Like I don't have, oh, this person, I'm going to inspire them to be a rocket scientist. I'm going to inspire this person to be this. Well, you just don't know that much, right? So you need to find out what's a product that could work universally.
Right. I do have, like I was telling you, I have the e-learning courses, and I have like workbooks and different stuff like that. in additional to the books, like I was saying, that I just recently got published. But I was just wondering because what I feel like is, it's way different when you're building from the ground up. It's totally different of like and I'm just using this for like an example now, like and who could I use? Okay, like I'll use Sarah Jakes Robert for example, like, you know, being that she's an awesome speaker, but she already kind of had a platform because her dad had a platform, like she
But
already
hold on,
kind of had it.
let
I'm
me
sorry.
tell you. Here's my opinion on that because I want to stop because this will. I
Okay.
don't want it to give people an excuse, right? All of us poop. All of us got 24 hours in a day. All of us still got to go to work. We all know successful people that got kids that are crackheads. Joe Biden's son should have been the president, but he chose to smoke crack in Russia. I'm just saying. So we all may have a platform, but we can't discount the work that that person did when that platform was put in their hands. If she wasn't disciplined, if she didn't do the work, nope. People don't have to resonate with the person just because they were put on stage. John Osteen.
Right. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just using it for example, like, being that she I'm not saying she didn't do any work because she's powerful in her own realm, but I was just saying like versus being in that kind of situation than building something from scratch. You know what I mean? Like all of you from scratch. Like,
so you ever went to someone's house and they say, man, he got a house built from the ground up? Y'all heard that before? I know we used to say that. Man, he got a new house built from the ground up. I've never seen a house built from the roof down in all my life. Every house is built from the ground up. Here's the difference. Floyd Mayweather became the greatest boxer in the world because he was focused only on boxing since he was 4 years old. Tiger Woods became the greatest boxer. I mean, Floyd became the greatest boxer because he was focused on that since he was a kid. Tiger became the greatest golfer because he was focused on it since he was a kid. Serena became the greatest tennis player because she was focused on it since she was a kid. Most of us are just doing too much. But we expect the results of the people that are focused. This isn't about allure. This is just overall to my audience. Focused results and focused attention get compound returns. They do. You do one thing for long enough, you win. But if I'm going to do 2 minutes over here and I'm going to promote this and I'm going to promote that, then I'm going to promote this and I'm going to promote that. Nah, we do one thing at Speaker Hub. We send emails. We ain't taught y'all nothing about Facebook ads, Google ads, and send them emails. Because I know if I can get you to focus on these emails, you'll get results. Get on more podcasts. How? Send emails. Get on more stages. How? Send emails. Talk to more event planners. How? Send them an email. Why? Because we get distracted. That's our number one issue. It ain't that we don't have enough time, it's that we're not giving enough time to the one thing that works. So to everyone, what I would do is look at the things that you have. Don't try to do all of them. Do the one thing that's giving you the highest ROI right now. If you got a course that's working, focus on that course. If you got a book that's working, focus on that book. If you're getting customers by DMing people, keep DMing. If you figured out Facebook ads, keep doing that. Don't worry about what we're talking about. Do that. Do the thing that works. We're just distracted. Here's one of the things I remember. I would talk to new business owners, and I'll give you the best way to know a new business owner. They tell you the name of their company, they put LLC at the end. You say, this person just started this. I am Ron Story Jr. LLC. Like, okay, this is a new business owner. They probably have too many things going on at once, right? So we got to just find one thing that works, market it one way until we reach our first goal. Usually, I tried that, it didn't work. Okay. Has anyone else sold 100,000 books? Yes. Okay. I need to up my skills so I can sell 100,000 books. I tried courses. Courses don't work. Well, but there are a lot of people. Harvard sells courses. That's all they sell is courses. They've been around for hundreds of years. They still gonna be around. They made billions of dollars selling courses. They've done it online too. So we know it works, but they're just focused on selling courses. Harvard is not focused on basketball, which is why their basketball team don't usually go that far in the Final Four, because they're focused on academics. Is this making sense? So all I'm saying is I think we can get further by focusing. That would be my advice to everyone, not just the lure, but everyone. Find one core product that you can promote the hell out of and you feel good about promoting. You're not embarrassed to take it to the stage. You're not embarrassed to show it to someone. And it's something that you can promote. I hear people all the time. I wrote a book, but I put that one on the shelf. What? Do you still got the information? Is it still helpful? Yeah, but that was from 2004. Boy, if you don't get that book off the shelf and start promoting that book some more, what do you mean you put it on the shelf? Right? If the knowledge is still good, you still need to be promoting it. Right? There you go. Use it. 4-Hour Work Week. Great book. Came out in 2006. Still promote it. The Bible came out a long time ago. Y'all still promoting it. The Quran, y'all still promoting it. That's all I'm saying. So, moral of the story, I think a lot of our issues can be solved with focus. Should you not have a YouTube channel and a podcast and go live and do these other things? You can. But you notice what we did? Guess what we did? We did lives once a month. No, once a week for what, 8 months last year? And I said, man, that was really good. We helped a lot of folks. Let's do more. We're going to do it every day. Boom. We went to every day. Got this going, 12 o'clock, popping. You know what? We're going to do another one. Going to do it twice a day. Got that going. We don't really like the time, so we're testing the third one. But do you see what I mean? We didn't go and say, now we're going to start, you're going to see me on TikTok. Dude, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going in on this. Does this make sense? We just get distracted, guys, and it becomes our excuse for not winning, right? Samantha, nice to meet you. Good to see you. Good to see you join us. You want to introduce yourself? Samantha Roberts.
Hello.
What up? What up?
How are you all doing?
We're doing well. You're in England, UK? That's like a UK street.
It is. It is.
Look at that.
I know. I'm out riding with the kids, so I'm saying let me come on for the first time. So I have been tuning in, to be honest.
Uh-oh, she ran into a dead zone.
Because I'm mostly soul.
Okay, so your internet is going out a little bit. You can turn off the camera and still talk to us because it's kind of choppy and we're losing your words. Right?
There we go.
Okay, go ahead. See you later, Bart. Good to see you. Okay, I think it's going in and out again, Samantha. But it's good to see you. Come back in. Let us know when we can hear you. But we can't hear you right now. But do y'all understand the power of that focus thing? Because the other stuff just becomes a reason to not do anything else. It becomes a huge distraction. You want to hear somebody that has a lot of great ideas, but I am focused. My team be frustrated as hell. Because I'll just say, hey, we're going to do this. And they get to working on it. I'm like, I didn't tell y'all to get to working on it. Y'all started working on it. I'm still doing this. And they're like, but you said we was eventually. I'm still doing this right now. But it's something that I learned is that's how you win. That's how you win. You just win just by beating the hell out of that rock. Right? I don't know. I mean, that's how I've won. I negotiated for this deal for 4 years. I emailed David Price for 2.5 years. I am persistent with staying focused on what I'm trying to do. I started looking at buying businesses in 2012. I didn't close the first one until 2018. Focus, persistence.